You can't be in the NBA and not expect an injury now and then. Sadly, it's an unavoidable truth for almost every sport. At the end of the day, we're all human, and sometimes things don't go according to plan. It's safe to say Zion Williamson of the Pelicans is in the same boat. And in this video, we'll be telling you all about the impact of his injury and a timeline of his recovery. First off, the injury itself. The Pelicans did lose against the Philadelphia 76ers earlier this week, but that's not the biggest worry at the moment. It's the fact that Williamson ended up injuring his hamstring in the third quarter. First of all, ouch, those hurt like crazy. He dribbled the ball down the court during the third quarter with only 34 seconds left on the clock, but he wasn't able to finish the game because of a strain on the hamstring. It was so painful that the player had to leave right after and couldn't make it back into action. The team announced that he's going to have to sit out the next 3 weeks to take care of himself. So now we all have to think about what the Pelicans are going to do without him. Just the thought of that is scary for a lot of people because Williamson had been nothing but a star this season. With his highlight reel style, he's averaging 26 points, 4.6 assists, and 7 rebounds per game. Sure, the man does not have a good history when it comes to injuries throughout his career. Whether it be his foot, thumb, or finger, no body part has been left unharmed. The thing is, each time he's bounced right back. He has only missed 8 of the Pelicans' 37 games so far, but that number is gonna rise. And fans of the team and the NBA alike are super worried. Up next, his amazing streak now broken. One thing's for sure, and that's that Williamson has been a key component of the Pelicans' breakout 2022-23 season, but now he and Brandon Ingram are both out for extended periods. Man, talk about a double whammy. It looks like the team is going to have to put in a lot of hard work for the rest of the season. They have a 2-4 record since the beginning of the season, with 2 wins coming against teams with records below 500. Zion offered the Pels a whole lot. With him, they had a go-to high-volume, high-efficiency paint scorer. He even led the league so far in PITP, averaging 19.1 per game. This puts them 3rd in the league in PITP, averaging 55.5 points per game. As for his performance on the floor, legendary. Sometimes basketball players don't end up proving the worth of their extensions, but that ain't the case with this guy. He has more than proved just how worthy he is of the $193 million extension he signed in July of the previous year. It's something to brag about and is what makes the hamstring strain all the more serious. Like, come on, the player ranks 4th in the league based on the game off drives. That too, even though he's 9th in the league overall. His defensive rating of 111 is the best we've seen thus far, not to mention how he averages 11.1 steals per game. That man's a powerhouse. You can't lie. Up next, what we know about his recovery. Adrian Wojnarowski, ESPN senior NBA insider, revealed that after he got the injury, the player went for an MRI immediately. It makes sense since your health is always the #1 priority, even more so when it comes to basketball. He also reported that after 3 weeks, Zion is due for a reevaluation, which will tell if he's ready to be back on the court or not. For now, things are fuzzy, and it's putting fans through some stress. Imagine what the team is feeling, you guys. After these long 3 weeks, if the player ends up needing another one to recover, we might just see him back in action, possibly in the first week of February. But right now, it's just speculation. You can't rush recovery, no matter how hard you try. It's much better to rest and heal fully than to enter the game when you're not at your optimum. At the end of the day, he's not just a player, he's a whole person. Everyone has a different timeline of recovery, so it's just best to give him the time he needs. Without Williamson and Ingram, the Pels will have to play the rest of January with a strength of 522. Coincidentally, that's also the average strength of all the teams they're scheduled to face, so it's not like they're going to be unfair matches. It's just that now they don't have the added advantages of stellar players like Brandon and Zion. And now let's look at Brandon Ingram. Williamson has now joined Ingram on the sidelines, so this injury isn't anything super surprising for the Pels. Is it unfortunate? Very much so. But the team saw another one of their star players take a back seat last November. What's more, Ingram's timeline of recovery hasn't been confirmed till now. Yes, it's been months, which also just adds to everyone's fear about Zion's recovery. Maybe it won't be in time, maybe it'll extend for longer. Right now, there isn't much to do or say except to keep calm and power on. He injured his toe in November and has been on the injury report ever since. The Pelicans will now have to face the Washington Wizards without him as well. The former Duke star has missed 21 games, and this upcoming one will be his 22nd. There's something very important that ties these two players together, other than the fact that they're on the same team. If anything, this is a wake-up call for fans and the NBA alike to give the athletes the time and space they need to heal. New Orleans will probably take extra care of them since both are super valuable long-term, and nobody wants to compromise their health for life. That's much more important than any game, right folks? Now let's look at the Pelicans adjusting to life without Zion as a tough road stretch looms. Firstly, their capabilities without their 2 stars. This isn't to say that these 2 players weren't spectacular. In every sport, you gotta learn how to compromise it and rise even higher. Basketball is no exception, and when you look at how the Pels are doing right now, you shouldn't be too worried. Of course, these injuries mean that they have to establish a whole new identity very fast. fast. You can't expect to be the same after you lose the most dominant paint scorer in the NBA. Larry Nance Jr. admitted this, saying that it's tough to play without Zion. He was the team's entire offense for some time, and it's hard to get past that. He added that it'll take them all some time to adjust to all these changes that happen so quickly, which is understandable. That being said, it doesn't mean they're not a formidable force. No sir. The Pels have been showing us just how hard they're to beat in the West. They've got some insane talent on the roster for one. Their offensive is stellar, and so is their attitude. In this field, your mindset brings a lot to the table. We see that clearly with these guys, since they're so competitive and motivated that they've been proving just how dangerous of an opponent they are. This was super clear in their last two outings. They beat the Rockets recently, and it was brutal, getting a double-digit victory. When you look at how they played against the Brooklyn Nets, it was intense. They didn't fall short at all, and matched the red-hot opponent with as much fire, if not even more. Up next, some growing pains they'll have to face. There's no sign of Brandon just yet, but even if he were to return before Zion, they'd all have to take a moment and regroup. Strategies are going to be revised. They're going to have to relearn how to play to win. It's all super intimidating. On top of that, these growing pains are going to be extra difficult for a very important reason. They're going to happen during some insane road stretches of the season. That means they're going to have to work 4 times as hard. But hey, let's be hopeful. If there's one thing that Pelicans have shown us, it's that they are not afraid of some elbow grease. Now coming to the difficult road stretch in question. On the second night of a back-to-back, New Orleans kicks off a 5-game road trip at Dallas on Saturday. 7 of the team's next 8 games will be on the road, with 3 of those games against title contenders Dallas, Cleveland, and Boston. It's safe to say they've got their work cut out for them. And now let's look at their unwavering confidence. The way these guys go beast mode is admirable. They've overwhelmed their opponents at home, so who's to say they won't do the same in the Western Conference race? After their loss to the Brooklyn Nets, they're at 17-5 at the Smoothie King Center. Only Cleveland has outnumbered their wins this season by 18-4. On the other hand, they are at a disadvantage this time. That fact is undeniable. They're at 7-10 on the road this year, and in these cases, star players are your saving grace. They're like the guiding lights that bring the game home, and the Pels will have to do without Williamson and Ingram in this case. Not having your best offensive at a time like this is a setback for sure. The rest of the team is confident that they won't let the loss affect them though. You gotta stay optimistic, right folks? Jose Alvarado talked a little bit about the upcoming Western Conference, and he said that they all believe in themselves and the power of a team. It's gonna be a challenge, that's no lie, but he's super set on getting those wins. Plus, they've got a very powerful offensive already. Seriously, this much talent in one team is insane. We're talking about CJ McCollum, who just bounced right back after a slump at the beginning of the season with 25.6 points and 6.1 assists. All he has to do is continue performing at this level, and the Pels have nothing to worry about. Well, that's all for this video, folks. Do you think Zion Williamson will be back by the predicted timeline of February? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you in the next video.